such a pleasure that you have come to my channel once again. How are you doing? Today we are going to talk about some of the things that you need to keep in mind when you are weaning your baby. Actually, this is because someone asked me how many times a baby should be fed when you start weaning your baby. Before then, it's important to remind you that according to the World Health Organization, all babies should be exclusively breastfed until they are 6 months old. If it is not possible, you can do replacement feeding, but almost every woman can breastfeed. So you should start weaning your babies around 6 months old, but not before. Some of the things you should keep in mind is that when you start weaning your baby, they are still getting most of their nutrition from breast milk or formula, as the case may be. This is because their intestines, their digestive systems are not that developed. So, even though you are starting to give them semi solids or solids, they are still getting a lot of nutrition from breast milk that they were taking before you started weaning them. And then again, remember that weaning a baby, for a baby to start accepting semi-solids or solids, is a new skill. You know, your babies didn't just start sitting in a day. They didn't start just transferring objects from hand to the other hand in a day. So all these things are things that babies learn. Just like accepting semi-solids or solids is also a skill. We have a lot of mothers who complain that when babies are exclusively breastfed till 6 months, it becomes very difficult to give them semi-solids or solids. It's just because it's a new skill. So you need to be patient with your baby. Your baby is learning and you are also learning, especially if it's your first baby. You will also have to learn how to offer semi-solids or weaning foods to your baby. So both of you are learning. Remember how when you started breastfeeding, the first few days were a bit difficult. It's the same thing. So you need to be patient. Even if you've had other babies, all babies are different. The way your previous ones accepted the complementary feeding may not be the way this one accepts the complementary feeding. So you need to be patient. Now, when you start weaning, how many times should you offer food to your baby in a day? When you start weaning, you shouldn't be in a hurry for the baby to accept much quantities. So a meal can be 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, 3 or 4 tablespoons. The baby may not accept as much as you would like, but anything that the baby accepts is a start. That is why you need to make sure that the food is over a period as nutritious as possible because they are not going to accept much. And how often? When you start, offering it once a day is okay. Sometimes you can offer it once in every 2 or 3 days. It depends on the dynamics in the home. If you are in a hurry, you are going somewhere, you are upset about something, that is not the time that you want to try to see if your baby is going to accept it. No, that's not the day. You can do it another day. Remember, they are not getting a lot of nutrition at that time anyway. But if your baby is very happy to accept it, why not? You can offer it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. Once you see that your baby is happy to accept it, you are good to go. So, what foods should you start with? Start with foods that contain a lot of iron. The reason is this: babies are born with a store of iron, but by the time they are 6 months old, these stores are depleted. So you need to start with foods that contain iron. Another reason is that if you are exclusively breastfeeding, we know that breast milk does not have a lot of iron. The good thing though is that the little iron that it has is in a form that the body likes. So the body is able to absorb it very well. But overall, the fact that the baby's iron stores are used up and breast milk does not have a lot of iron means that it's important you start with iron containing foods. So we are talking about fortified cereals. Cereals on their own don't contain a lot of iron, but most of them that are made for babies are fortified with iron. And then we are talking about our meat, our fish, our poultry, our dark green vegetables, our beans. All these ones contain a lot of iron. So you can start with these ones for your baby. Initially, you need to puree it into liquids, into semi-solids or liquids. When you start and the baby is able to accept it from a spoon, then you can thicken it a bit. Because once the baby accepts it, you don't want to fill the baby's tummy with only water. So you can thicken it a bit. And then when the babies are 6 to 9 months old and you have just started weaning them. It is better that you offer a breastfeed or formula, as the case may be, before you give them the weaning food that you are giving. But by the time they turn 9 months to 12 months old, you need to offer the complementary feed first. Because, like I explained, at 6 months, they are not getting much nutrition from what you are offering. But the reverse begins to apply once they grow up a bit. By 12 months old, most babies want to even hold the spoon themselves. At that time, a lot of them are able to pick food with their thumb and their index finger. Before that time, they pick with their palm. Before 9 months, they are picking with their palm. So it becomes difficult for them to pick and take food to their mouth. But by the time they are 9 to 12 months old, they have developed that ability. So a lot of them want to hold the spoon themselves, and they also want to feed themselves finger foods. So you should allow them to feed themselves. It also helps them to develop their hand skills, to develop their self confidence, to develop their coordination. We know that it can get messy. Babies like to play with food, and playing is good for babies. It helps them to develop. So you allow them to feed themselves. It's going to be messy, we know, but it's part of growing up. So you allow them to feed themselves. Also, bear in mind that when they are feeding themselves, they are not just using their mouths to feed themselves, they are using their whole face, their chest, everywhere. So, the food that you give them should not be very spicy or peppery, because when you do that, the food is going to be too hot for them. They won't like it, they may reject it, they may cry, and they may end up putting hot pepper or spices into their eyes. And then that becomes the whole meal is over. There's going to be a lot of crying. By the time they are 12 months as well, you can serve them foods from the family pot and bring them to the table when you are eating. But just like I said, theirs should not be so spicy. Before 12 months, you should not offer them cow's milk, ordinary cow's milk. But from 12 months going, you may, if you so wish, offer them ordinary cow's milk, because even at that time, their breast milk intake is decreasing and they still need a lot of calcium, which they get from milk. So that's the time that you can offer them milk. You don't necessarily need to give them toddler milk. But if that's what you prefer, fine, you may go ahead with that one. So we have said that for babies to accept semi-solids or even solids is a skill, so you need to be patient. We have said you don't need to add a lot of pepper to it. Don't be so fixed on the babies consuming so much at once. Sometimes the babies are full. They are making us know that they are full, but we insist that they should take more. It is not good. You need to pay attention to your baby's cues. If your baby is acting full and satisfied, let them be. But as soon as you see that they are hungry or you're eating something and they show a lot of interest, then you offer it to them again. Aim that over days, over a few days to a week, their food is balanced. That means that it contains food from all the different food groups. So these are some of the things you should bear in mind when you are beginning to wean your baby, when you are beginning to offer them semi-solids or solid food. So you can tell us in the comment section, have you started weaning your baby? What foods have you started with? Have you been giving them fruits, vegetables? You should do that. Are there any challenges? Let us know. Are there any particular winning foods you want to share with us, recipes? Let us know as well. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe and visit our blog, babychildandco.com. Bye.